Hello my friends, and welcome back to another video, or welcome if you are new. My name is Erin and today we are doing a vlog. I have seen this trend going around booktube and I was going to do one last year, but last year I was in a 5-star reading slump where I could not find any books I really loved. But I've had really good luck this year and I've felt my love of reading come back and I feel like I'm finding new books that I'm really enjoying. So I decided that it was time to give this vlog idea a go, and that is stopping the video once I find a 5-star. So I'm going to read books until I find a 5-star read, which, you know, I think I will regret once I start the video, but right now it sounds like a good idea, so we're going to do it. I think it sounds like a lot of fun, but hopefully you all enjoy it. If you do end up liking this video, you know, throw a like my way, throw a comment my way, subscribe to my channel. But the first book that I am going to start with is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. Now you're probably like, Erin, that's a really bad idea to start with, and you could be right. However, I am a Emily Henry stan. I love everything she writes, and I feel like this could be a good book to start with. I don't know if it'll be a 5-star, but it could be good, which will make the video progress a little easier, I think, if I like the first book. So I am taking a chance because I have seen a lot of negative reviews with this one, but because I do really like Emily Henry, I am going to give it a chance. So this is going to be the book we start with first, and we will see how many books it takes me to get to a 5-star. So without further ado, let's get into the vlog and see what happens. I was going to update halfway through my experience reading this book, but because of all the negative reviews and the kind of mishmash stuff I've been seeing about it, I just wanted to read the entire book, gather my thoughts, and then come give you a more thoughtful review. I don't know if this is actually going to be that thoughtful, but I took a gamble starting with this book because so many people have been hating this. And I am a Emily Henry fan. I have read everything by her. I've loved everything. I haven't given anything lower than a 4-star so far. So I did think this could be a good contender, even though people have really been crapping all over this book. And I did go into this book with those in mind. Like, I did heed everyone's warnings and I knew to expect a little bit of a different book, but I have to say that I think I'm going to make a lot of people mad with this review because I very much disagree with everything I've been seeing. This feels like such a quintessential Emily Henry book. I am shocked that people are saying this doesn't feel like her books at all. It feels exactly like every other Emily Henry book I've read. I don't really understand what people mean. At least to me, it feels literally like every other book I've read from her. So that's one thing I disagree on. I don't think it feels different at all. Two, the other thing I heavily disagree on is the fact that people are saying this isn't a romance book. I don't get that either. This is so obviously a romance book. I'm confused by that. I don't know. I'm very confused by everyone's feelings on this book because I just so heavily disagree. And I did enjoy this book. I want to make that clear. I did like it. I don't love it as much as I loved a lot of her other books. I will say this is probably like last place for me. If I had to rank them all, it would be at the bottom because I just didn't love some of the other details. Let me tell you what this is about. We're following Alice. She is a journalist and she kind of goes head to head. She's pitted against Hayden, who is another journalist, and they're competing for the job of writing this story for this woman named Margaret. And Margaret is like an heiress. She's famous. Her family has a long history. It's some of it's kind of tragic. She's been in the headlines, yada, yada, yada. So they get this month-long trial to see who's going to win the job of writing her story. And Hayden and Alice are very different. Alice is very happy-go-lucky, positive, sunshine. She sees the glass half full. Hayden is very brooding and serious and kind of like pessimistic, I guess, and he sees the glass half empty. Although I feel like that's not really true, but they do give off grumpy sunshine vibes. So I think my problem with this book, the only thing I really didn't love is I really didn't care about Margaret. I didn't really care about her story. I didn't care about the chapters of them interviewing her or writing the story or digging deeper into her life and all that kind of stuff. Like, I just didn't care. I don't think I really like books about famous people. If I'm reading a thriller about wealthy rich people doing dumb stuff or like being bad rich people, like that's fun to me, but I don't really want to read about a celebrity or what it's like to be in the headlines or being a famous singer or, you know, I don't know, it's just like not really something that I really love. I don't know, it just felt boring. I don't know how to explain it. I just don't think I'm that interested in hearing about the family line and the beginning of the family and how they got their money and what they did with it and how it influenced the generations after them and what they did with their wealth and their marriages and their children and how their lives progressed and how they flourished, how they fell. Like, I just don't care about that kind of stuff. It was just not interesting to me. But I loved Hayden and I loved Alice, and I thought they were very, very cute. Loved their romance, loved that part of the story. I love Emily Henry's writing. I liked the last half of the book. I felt like there were a little bit of twisty-turny bits that I thought were fun and threw me for a loop a little bit. But yeah, I didn't think this was as bad as everyone was saying. I don't know, people were really upset about this book and like not excited about it and giving it 2 stars, saying it's terrible, horrific, not a real Emily Henry book, not like anything she's written, which I disagree with. A lot of people are comparing this to The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Is that the name of that book? I've never read it because I don't think I would be interested in it, and now seeing the comparisons to this one, I'm pretty sure I don't want to read that book. But I did like this. I would probably give it like a 3.75, maybe a 4, but it's definitely my least favorite of Emily Henry's so far. But I don't hate it. I think it's getting a little bit too much flack, in my opinion. Like, I feel like people are coming at this one a little bit too hard, but you know, it's not a 5-star, so we're moving on. I think the next book I'm gonna give a try is Bat Eater. I don't know if this will be a 5-star, but I'm excited to read it, and I've heard really, really good things about it, so hopefully I like it. So we'll see if it's a 5-star when I finish it. So I finished this in one sitting. I did read all of this today. It's like 1 in the morning, so it's been a while since I last checked in, but I have finished, and I wanted to love this more than I did. That being said, I didn't hate it. I do like this book, and I think it's a very interesting story, and I like a lot of components to this book. I just think that it didn't necessarily all work together, and let me tell you why. Let me tell you a little bit about the plot. So our main character in the story is Cora, and Cora witnesses her sister Delilah get pushed in front of the subway and killed, and the person who did it screams like a bat eater while he's like leaving the scene. This book takes place during 2020 when the pandemic is starting / in its first stages and first like full year. Actually, before it even hits a full year. So it's like the early stages of the pandemic. And months after Cora's sister was murdered, she gets a job as like a crime scene cleaner. And while doing this job, she starts realizing that these crime scenes have a lot in common. They're all Asian women, and they all have like bats, like dead bats or injured bats included in the crime scenes. There's also this like hungry ghost festival that Cora's aunt kind of like warns her about and tells her not to ignore it, but she ends up doing that, and then she starts seeing and experiencing some supernatural stuff. So I think my problem is there's a lot of stuff in this story. I really liked that this took place during the pandemic, which is a huge deal for me because I absolutely despise when books take place during 2020 or has any talk of COVID or anything about the pandemic. I usually just can't stand it. I think what's different between this and those other books is that this book, there is a purpose for the pandemic being mentioned. This is not only the setting, but there is a big focus around that and how Asian American and just Asian people in general were treated during the pandemic. And it was just, there was a lot of racism towards Asian people. And so I think that there being a point made it easier for me to not enjoy it, but not be so negative about it. I feel like, you know, when you're reading a thriller, they mention COVID, they mention 2020, they mention the pandemic, and it's just like a setup. They're just like, this is what's going on in the world. But then it has no relevancy to the plot in my mind. It's just like little weird mentions about like social distancing, staying 6 feet apart, wearing a mask. But like there's other things happening in the book, and it just like takes me out of the story, where this is the story and it needs those references and it makes sense and it's not distracting. The racism was done so well. I really enjoyed that part of the book. I think it was probably my favorite, except for the fact that Cora was a crime scene cleaner. That was also very interesting to me because it's not a job that I think a lot about, honestly. I don't know, it's not something that my mind goes to a lot, so I thought it was really interesting having the main character have that as their job. I also really liked Cora. She's got some obsessions around cleanliness and germs and contamination, and I really related to a lot of you know, Cora's obsessions and things that she did and, you know, rituals she had. So I really liked seeing that in the story. It was, I don't know, it was just like being seen, I think, through a book. It felt like I could relate to the character, which I liked. I liked the supernatural elements, and I liked the Hungry Ghost Festival kind of elements. It kind of reminded me of Dia de los Muertos, which I liked because, again, it was something that I could relate to. It's something that I understood, so I could like pull from my knowledge of that to kind of understand that festival and, you know, what they were talking about. So I liked that mystery about the murders and what was going on and stuff like that. I liked all of the elements separately. I think the problem is all of them together, they didn't necessarily fit all the way. I think especially like the ghost supernatural edition felt a little kind of tossed in there. It didn't feel as fleshed out as I think I would have liked it to. It just meshed in with the other stuff, and I feel like it could have been taken out and it wouldn't have ruined the story for me. So I was a little sad about that because I do love supernatural elements and ghost stories and all that kind of stuff. So I was wanting that to be a little bit more hefty, I think, and it wasn't. The ending also felt a little anticlimactic for me. It just kind of, I don't know, I was waiting for a bigger, punchier ending, and I felt like I just didn't get it. So that was a little disappointing to me, but I did like this story. I think it was good, and I think a lot of things about it I did really enjoy. I just don't think it all meshed as well together as it could have. It says that it's perfect for fans of The Eyes Are the Best Part and The Only Good Indians. And so when I read that about The Eyes Are the Best Part, I was waiting for like some really unhinged stuff and like an unhinged female main character, and I didn't really get that as well. So I was a little disappointed because I think I thought there was going to be some like unhinged parts, and it just didn't really get there for me. So I was a little let down about that. But I think overall it was a good story. I would probably give it 3.75 again. I know that's 2 books in a row, but it's not necessarily a 4, but it's higher than a 3.5. I don't know. I know people hate like 3.75 ratings, but you know, sometimes there's something, it just doesn't fit a 3.5 and it doesn't fit a 4, so you have to go in between. But I did enjoy this. I think a lot of people will really like it, and you know, I read it really quickly, so I can see why a lot of people will absolutely love this. But to switch things up, because I'm trying to read a bunch of different books to see what I can get a 5-star with, I'm going to read Highway 13. This is a short story collection, which is, I believe the stories are interconnected, and it's telling the story of a serial killer in Australia. I don't think this is about a real serial killer. I think this is like a fictional serial killer, which is what I prefer to read. Like, I prefer fictional true crime stories. So I'm hoping I really like this. I love short story collections, especially when they're interconnected and they make a bigger story altogether, and you know, I love that kind of thing. So I'm hoping I'll really like this. I love stories about serial killers. The cover's really cool. I don't know. I have high hopes. So I'm going to read this one next, and hopefully it's at least a 4-star, because I feel like I'm giving a lot of 3 points something or others and nothing else. So I'm going to read this one, and I'll come back and let you know what I give it. Alright, I'm here. I have read Highway 13. That's not true. I have read like, how many stories? Where am I at? I read 1, 2, 3, 4. 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Oh, 5. No, 5. I've read 5 stories in this collection, and I am DNFing it. I hate DNFing books in vlogs like this, but I was talking to Justin, and he made a good point. Even if I kept reading this book, it wouldn't be a 5-star, so there really isn't a point to keep reading it anyways for the point of this vlog. But I think my expectations about this book were not quite right. I thought that this was a short story collection that was going to look at this serial killer in Australia, and they were going to connect and whatever. I thought that was the point, and I don't know. I think this book is either suffering from mismarketing, or I just really didn't know what I was getting into with this book. I would say that every story is more like looking at a ripple effect. So every story is in a different year. They jump from like the first story is in 2008, second story 1996, then 2011, then 2003, then 1986, then 1995. Like, it's jumping all over the map. And I feel like each story is more examining the effects that this serial killer had on other people, not necessarily the people that he killed or the family members, but just like everyday people, like that little ripple effect that traveled into lives, and how they went day to day into their lives and how they look back on it. It's kind of boring because the main focus is not necessarily the murders and the serial killer. It's again, it's that little tiny little ripple effect that just keeps going down into the years. I don't know how to explain it. Someone on Goodreads, I'll pop the review on if I can find it again, but someone said it's similar to hearing someone talk about Rosemary's Baby, the movie, and say you never really see it. You don't see the baby, right? Like, you never see the baby in the movie. So it's kind of like that. Like, they kind of talk about it, they hint at it, but you're not really looking at that part of the story. It's not really about the murders or the serial killer, which I think I just expected something different. I'm bored. I think all the stories are kind of weird. The writing is just not gripping me or intriguing me. I just don't care. Again, I think I would have preferred if it had been what I was expecting, which each story was going to be about, like, telling the story of this serial killer or the murders, and it's just not what I'm getting. So I'm going to put this away because I don't really like it, which is really sad because the cover is really, really cool. It's what really, like, caught my eye, and I just thought the idea was really fun, but it's not doing what I need it to do. So we're bringing out some big guns here because I'm on book 4 now and haven't seen anything even come close to a 5. So we need to up the ante a little bit. We need to start making some big moves if we want to see something happen. So I'm going to do this book because I think there is a good chance that I could at least give it a 4 or higher, and I'm going to read Yellowface by R.F. Kuang next. I just recently finished the Poppy War series, the Poppy War trilogy, and I really, really loved it. So I'm hoping that means this is at least gonna get me closer to a 4, 4.5, hopefully a 5. But I need to make some big moves, okay? Some big moves. So I'm gonna try an author that I have read, I have enjoyed so far. I know this is more like lit fic than it is fantasy or romance or horror or anything like that. So I know that, but I think it'll be a good read, and I'm gonna count it for Buzzwordathon, a prompt for this month, which I believe is eyes on the cover, and I'm gonna use this one. So I'm gonna start this and hopefully it gets us at least closer to a 5-star, if not a 5-star. All right, I finished Yellowface, and sadly I don't think it's a 5, but it is like a 4 to a 4.5. I did really enjoy this book, which I'm at least glad I moved a little bit towards the 5-star range. So it did what I wanted it to do with breaking up the books that were staying in like the 3-star range. But this story is about June Hayward. She is a writer, and her book, her debut book, has really just flopped, and she hasn't really started off the way she wants to in the writing sphere, and it's just not going as well. And she has this best friend named Athena, and I say best friend because they're friends, but June is like really jealous of her, like really, 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 really jealous of her. June is a white woman and Athena is an Asian woman, and one night they are together and Athena dies in a really weird, bizarre, accidental death way. And June decides that this is a great opportunity to steal Athena's manuscript. And her manuscript is about Chinese laborers during World War I. She decides to pass it off as her own, and yeah, it's like a whole, it's a whole thing. I am really surprised that I liked this because I truly hate, okay, that's not true. I do like unlikable characters when it's done like this. I'm shocked that R.F. Kuang made a book where the main character is so absolutely irritating and annoying and despicable, and I was able to read beginning to end and actually enjoy the book, because that's a big feat. And June is just so irritating. She is such a bad person, and the way she tries to excuse her behaviors and her thought processes and, you know, she tries to make it seem like it's not a big deal. The book is very interesting because you have racism in the publishing industry, but you also just get a look at publishing as a whole. And I always enjoy books that show you a different side to like writing or publishing or just some part of the book world. I think it's because like being on the reader side of it, I just don't really get a full glimpse of that. So I do like when books kind of delve into that area. What's stopping me from giving this a 5-star, and this isn't because I don't think it makes sense, but I didn't like the ending. The ending to me, while it makes sense and I think it's very realistic and it's probably very accurate to how the story should end, I was so disappointed by the ending because I just wanted something more satisfying, and for me it wasn't satisfying, but logically I know why it ended the way it did. It's just not what I wanted, but it's okay, it's okay. This book is also really funny. I was laughing a lot, and it's hard because it's not like funny, ahaha, it's like funny, oh my god, this is insane. So I do appreciate a good dark comedy like that. So this was good. I'm not surprised because I did enjoy the Poppy War trilogy from this author, and I do have Babel as well to read, so very excited. But yeah, I don't think this is going to be my 5-star, which is sad, but I did really enjoy it. Now, this is where the problem starts, because I've kind of started running through the options I had for 5-star options and now I just don't know what's going to give me that 5-star. So this is really the last book that I am truly hoping could be a 5-star, and if this one doesn't get me to the 5-star, it's gonna go crazy after this. So next up, I'm gonna read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. This one I have read the first chapter of already for a different vlog, and I really liked it. I have been recommended this book so many times. I know so many people love it. I am hopeful that this could be a 5-star, but if it's not, then I'm gonna be real in trouble. So yeah, this is the next one. We'll see. I'll update. I'm regretting filming this video every time I have to update because I finished Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and unfortunately this is also not a 5-star. However, I did like this and I'm going to give it 4, but I think I was anticipating myself liking it way more than I did. It's not that it's a bad book. I love cozy fantasy and I have a good time with cozy fantasy, and I feel like I haven't disliked that many. So in all honesty, I thought that I was going to like absolutely love this. It took me a while to get into it. I don't know if it was the writing style or what. I was just kind of like, okay, this isn't quite what I expected. And the thing that really threw me for a loop, which I know this is gonna sound so ridiculous, but I don't like I don't like that it has footnotes. It has footnotes in this book and it drives me insane. I hate books that have footnotes in them, and while it's not an overwhelming amount of footnotes, it still irritated me every time I had to read a footnote. Could I have skipped them and not read them and just probably read the book normal and I wouldn't have missed much, but I just feel like I'm going to miss something if I don't read them, and they're there for a reason, and they do add to like the reading experience because you are reading Emily's like journal and her notes and stuff like that, so it makes sense, but like it just feels like a textbook. It just makes me feel like I'm reading for school or for like work and not for enjoyment, and it drives me insane. So it did take me a bit to get into this one, but at the end I did really like it, and I have the other 2 books in the trilogy, so I will be continuing. I just think I expected to like this one a little bit more. What this book is about is Emily. She is compiling this encyclopedia of fairies, and she is in Norway in this town to do some research on this type of fairy called the Hidden Ones. She's kind of a standoffish person. She doesn't really want to get to know the people of the town. She kind of puts her foot in her mouth. She doesn't really know how to talk to people. She prefers just doing scholarly work and writing and doing all that kind of stuff. Like, she'd just rather be learning and writing about fairies. And so it's not that the townspeople don't like her, but she just comes off a little like frosty. And her friend Wendell ends up coming to the same town to help her and do some other things. And he like charms the whole town, which really annoys her because he's the opposite of her. So she just gets really annoyed because they like him in like 2 seconds. And then they get into some trouble, some things happen, but it's really, really cute. There's some romance in here, which I like because I do love romance in my stories, so I did like that. I don't feel like it's an overwhelming amount of romance. It's pretty soft and like to the side, so if you're not into a book that's really in your face romance, it's not going to be like that for you. It is kind of slow, and I don't know, it was interesting. Like, I haven't really read a lot of fantasy with fairies or any type of fae in them, so this was like my first introduction, so that was pretty fun. But yeah, I mean, I liked it. I just think I expected to like it a lot more, just because everyone really, really hypes it up and told me I would really like it. So I just had high expectations, and apparently everything that I think is going to be a 5 stars is not a 5 star. So I really don't know what's coming next, because I have really gone through my options of what I am anticipating being a 5 star. I don't know what else to put in this vlog. It's gonna be random after this, so I might not update until I've read a few more books, because if I just keep updating after every book, we're gonna be here for like years. So if the next book is not a 5 star, and the next book, and the next book, then I'll have to come back after 3 books and tell you what's going on, because seriously, this is getting a little worrisome, because I don't know how to find a 5 stars, which is really unfortunate because I had a 5 star right before this vlog started. So I really ruined this for myself. But anyways, I will update you sometime. Hopefully it's good news, but we're still looking for a 5 star. I don't know. I'll see you in a bit. I don't know where to go from here. So I'll hopefully find one next. I don't know, but this is gonna be a long video. It's gonna be a really long video. I didn't think it was gonna be a long video, but it's gonna be a long video. So hope you all are happy about that, because I don't know when this is gonna end. Hello, it's update time. I have 3 books to update you on. Like I said, I'm not doing every book. Unfortunately, I still don't have a 5 star. I know. Isn't this so fun? I am utterly regretting my choice to do this video. I thought it was going to be a fun little vlog. Now it's turning out to be a video where apparently I don't know my taste in books or what I like or what gets me a 5-star. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Anyways, yeah, so I'm gonna talk about these 3 books that I read, and hopefully this isn't the longest update of my life. So I decided to read When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. This is a new horror release. I have had mixed opinions on Nat Cassidy's stuff. I enjoyed Mary, gave it 4 stars. Nestlings I gave 3, I maybe gave it a 3.5, and Rest Stop I gave a 3-star. So I was very nervous about this, but I had really high hopes. I'm gonna give you a very loose summary. This is about the main character, Jess, who is a struggling actress, and she works at a diner. And one night when she comes home from work, she finds this little boy who is distraught, and he's 5 years old, I believe. He's running from his father, who he's very scared of, and Jess gets roped in to this father and son's whole deal, and they start running for their lives. It becomes a very complicated situation. So, I have very mixed feelings about this. The first 80, 90-ish pages, I loved this. I was hooked. I was so excited. I felt like it was going to be a new favorite, and this book is split into 4 parts. Once certain aspects of the story got introduced, I was a little less excited by the premise, especially in like part 2. I think when things started getting revealed, I was just not as excited. That's Letty sleeping. She's barking in her sleep. I was just not as excited about the story. And then I got back into the story around part 3, and then part 4, I was still kind of liking it, but I don't know, it was all over the place for me. I think this book is very interesting because Jess is dealing with a very complicated sort of grief. She is grieving the loss of her father, but her father was absent, so she's kind of already lost him, but now she's lost him more permanently in the sense that he's dead, and she's really struggling with her feelings towards it. But I really like her relationship with the kid because he's also got this really complicated relationship with his dad, and I really like how they connect and how they're both dealing with different types of grief and father relationships. I just thought it was really sweet, and I just like their banter and how they talk to each other and how they relate to each other. I just thought it was really, really cute. I think it's a little bit predictable. Once this thing was revealed, I figured out pretty much where the story was going to go, and my big issue is that this book isn't what I expected it to be, which I wasn't that upset once the story got going and I started liking it a bit more, but I think something that really frustrates me is I don't like the ending of this book. I feel like the book should have ended at a certain scene. I'm gonna be very vague, but there is a scene with Jess, the boy, and the father that I think should have been the end. I think that would have been the best ending part for this book, and then it kind of went on for this little last section, and it just was weird. I didn't really need that part. I could have just had it finished there, and I feel like the extra add-on was just too much for me. I just didn't really care. So I have very complicated feelings about this. I liked it. I didn't love it. I feel like I'll probably give it like a 3.75, a 4-star. I feel like 4 feels a little bit more accurate, but I didn't love everything about this book, but I do like it for the most part. Then I decided to pick up Circe by Madeline Miller. I'm going through a Greek mythology thing right now. I took a class in college and I read Clytemnestra last month and absolutely loved it. So I wanted to read more Greek mythology books, so I decided to pick up Circe, and this is a very interesting story about the goddess Circe, obviously. And she is a Titan, so she doesn't really fit in with her family, the other gods and goddesses that she knows, that she grew up with, all of the other nymphs and stuff. but she also doesn't really get along with the Olympians because, you know, the Olympians and the Titans don't really see eye to eye, and since she's a Titan, they don't really necessarily like each other. And then, of course, she doesn't necessarily fit in with the mortals because she's not mortal, she is a goddess. But anyways, she gets exiled because of Zeus not liking this thing that happens, and she starts honing her witchcraft, which is something that she is very skilled in during her exile. And you're really spending a lot of time getting to know Cersei as a person and her struggles in the beginning of her life, during her exile. It's very sad. It's a very sad story, and I did like it. I liked learning about Cersei. I feel like I didn't know that much about her, and I feel like I gained a new appreciation for her as a Greek mythological character, and I just liked reading this book. I don't think I liked it as much as I liked Clytemnestra. I think while the writing in this is very beautiful, it felt a little harder for me to get into. I did have more knowledge about certain events and things that happen in Clytemnestra, and I just felt like the writing was easier to step into, and it just flowed a little easier for me. This one was beautiful, but it was just a little more literary, flowery, I guess, and it took me a little bit more time to acclimate towards it. I think this one's also a little bit more slow. It's not as actiony as Clytemnestra. I don't want to say Clytemnestra is like super actiony, but there's a lot of stuff going on in that one, like the Battle of Troy and a lot of murder and stuff. And while there is some stuff happening in here, it's just very slow because you are in exile with Cersei the whole time. So I did like this one. I will probably give it a 4-star, and I enjoyed my time with it. I want to read The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller at some point, so I'm glad I picked it up. I'm glad I read it, but I did like Clytemnestra better. Then I went in another direction because I'm trying to read a bunch of different books to see if I can get a 5-star, and I went with Paladin's Grace by T. Kingfisher. This is like a cozy, romantic-y sort of story. I read Sword Heart last month, and I really, really liked it. Sword Heart and this one is they're set in the same world, so I'm glad I read Sword Heart first because it gave me a better base knowledge for the setting of this one and like the plot and the characters and what was going on. But in this story you are following Stephen, who is a paladin, which I don't know super well, but from what I know, a paladin is basically like a holy knight. So that's the best I can give you. And we're following Stephen. His god actually died, so he's with the Temple of the Rat god. I know it sounds weird, but he ends up caught in this mess. There's like a murderer decapitating people in this, and a woman who is a perfumer gets kind of roped into like an assassination attempt, and he starts having feelings for her, she starts having feelings for him. There's like a lot of drama, a lot of like yearning between these two, which I really like. I love T. Kingfisher's characters. She writes the most like witty, quirky, fun characters. They're so lovable and so adorable. I love this world as well. It's just so fun, but so cozy and rich as well. I don't know. I love T. Kingfisher's writing. I love her horror books, and I'm loving her fantasy books. I do think I like Sword Heart better because Sword Heart had just like more going on and it felt less rushed. This one I feel like felt a little like the stakes were a little less intense for me, and I feel like everything kind of rushed at the end. But this is part of a series. There are 4 books, and I believe it's probably going to continue. Like some of the stuff that happened in here is going to continue into the next book, so I'm banking on that. But I did really like this. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to give it 4 stars as well. I gave Sword Heart 4.5. I think I just like that one a little bit more. But again, adorable, beautiful, loved it. T. Kingfisher is a favorite author for sure from me. That was the update for the last 3 books that I read. I'm going to pick something else, which will be my 9th book for this reading vlog. And if I don't get a 5-star in the next like 2 books, by the 10th book, I'm ending this vlog, and I will have to make a part 2 or a redemption vlog because this is insane. So I will come back when I have something to report on. Hopefully it's a 5-star. If not, this video is kind of a wreck. So I'll come back. Who knows what's gonna happen, but I'll let you all know what is going on when I know what's going on. Okay, I'm so disappointed in myself that I didn't think about this book when I started this vlog. I don't know, I think I had so much pressure trying to find a 5-star that I was thinking about so many books that I didn't think about this. This is The Man Who Died Twice, which is the sequel to The Thursday Murder Club. And if you've been watching my TBR Slasher series, you know that I read The Thursday Murder Club in one of those vlogs, and I absolutely loved it. 5 stars. It was so easy. I fell in love. So I bought the second one immediately, and I was like, I'm gonna love this series. I knew it. So my little brain didn't remind me that I had the sequel, and I was looking for 5 stars on my TBR. I was looking, and I was trying to find books. I guess I glossed over it, but then I was laying in bed one night while I was thinking about books, which happens a lot. So I was thinking about books, and I was like, don't I have the sequel to The Thursday Murder Club? I should read that in my 5-star vlog thing. And then I forgot about it because I went to sleep and then I woke up, whatever. But then on the last day-ish, when I was trying to find the last book, I glanced and I saw the spine and I went, oh my god. So I showed Justin, and Justin was like, you need to read it. So I did, and guess what, everybody? 5 frickin' stars. I love this series so much. I know some people just really don't like this series, and I totally get it, but it is everything I absolutely love in a book. These characters are so freaking lovable. This is about the same 4 70-something friends in their little retirement village. You know, they have the Thursday Murder Club where they meet weekly to talk about crime, and they solved a crime in the last book, so they're back at it again in this one, except this one's even crazier because there's like stolen diamonds in this one and murder. So it's not just murder, it's like more things, and they're just so cute. I love their friendship so freaking much. I was shocked that I like this series as much as I do, but it's really the characters. I will say the mystery is good. The mystery is always done really well, where I'm not guessing it ahead of time. I'm not, you know, trying to think of pieces and fit it all together. I do think that has to do with the fact that I love the characters so much that I'm paying attention more to them and their actions than I am the mystery itself, which isn't a bad thing because it's good for me. That means I'm not trying to solve anything, which means I'm not figuring things out early. But even though the mystery is well done, I'm reading it mostly for these characters. Their friendship is so pure and sweet, and I feel like you see the friendship even more in this one. Like, and it's not that anything really changes, it's just you really get a different look at how much they care about each other and how much they love each other and support each other and will do literally anything for each other. And I think that is so freaking cute. When I am 70 years old, I want to have friends like this. I want to have friends like this now, actually. It makes me jealous that I don't have friends like them right now. Like, I want to be in a friend group like them. I want them as friends. I want to be invited into the Thursday Murder Club. But they're just so supportive, and it's just so cute, and it's also kind of sad. Like, they are old, so they do talk about, you know, they know that they are older, but that doesn't stop them from living their life to the fullest. Like, they are solving murder. Like, it's just so fun. But there are sad parts. There are like really like emotional parts. This book did make me cry because I'm a baby, but it's just such a wonderful balance of like wholesomeness, sadness, and funny that it hits the right chords for me. One of the main characters, Joyce, she joins Instagram in this book, and it is so hilarious watching her navigate Instagram and her talking about it. It's hilarious. They're so witty and funny and silly, but so smart and clever, and I don't know, they're just such good characters, and I want to follow them through the entire series and see what shenanigans they get up to and what murders they solve and what kind of crimes they get roped into. Like, I'm just hooked. I'm hooked. I have to get the next 2 books because I'm obsessed. I knew I was obsessed after the Thursday Murder Club, but I'm even more obsessed after reading The Man Who Died Twice. And I'm so glad this was my 5-star, but also so mad that I couldn't figure it out earlier, so I didn't have to read all the books that I read. But, I mean, I guess it's a good thing that I read as many books as I did because they just came from my TBR, so that's good. But also, like, this vlog is probably a million years. I know I say that a lot, but I'm pretty sure this vlog is going to be over an hour long. So if you made it this far, thank you. Literally, thank you. But this is the end of the video. I did indeed find a 5-star after reading 9 books. I read 9 books. You can't even see all their spines because I have some of them facing the other way. I read 9 books in this vlog, and I don't know if I should take that as it takes me every 9 books to find a 5-star, or I have really, really bad taste in trying to pick a 5-star. I feel like I can't figure it out when I'm trying to find a 5-star. The 5-star has to find me. So maybe that's really my lesson, is I can't find the 5 stars, the 5 stars find me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know, leave me a comment, let me know. Give me a like, subscribe, we can become friends, talk about books, horrifying books, thrilling books, romance books, manga, fantasy, sci-fi, all the kinds of things that I'm reading nowadays. And with that being said, I hope you are having a great day, night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video that's hopefully not a million hours long. Bye!